Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making some Milky chai spiced bath salts. So these things are great for cooler weather, and it is already snowing here, so it's more than time to get us some awesome bath accessories going on. The ingredients are pretty darn simple, and chances are you already have most, if not all of them. We'll start with a base of skin softening baking soda, some sea salt, and some milk powder. So I use coconut milk powder and it smells wonderfully coconutty, but if you happen to have like a cow's milk powder or goat milk powder, that will absolutely work too. To that, we're going to add a blend of some chai spices, so some ginger, some cinnamon, some cloves, and some cardamom. I've also added some essential oils, but if you don't have those, you don't need them. You can get away with just those simple kitchen staples. We're going to be sort of turning those kitchen staples into sort of a bath salts concentrate. I'm leaving the Epsom salts out of the sort of the master mix, so you can add those to your bath water to taste. I find that when you make a bath salts mixture that actually already has a lot of salt in it, they tend to absorb a lot of moisture from the air and then really seize up, and then, especially if you put them in like a pretty bottle with a narrow mouth, you're often sort of left trying to get this solidified lump of bath salts out of your bottle, and that's the opposite of relaxing. So I find that if you keep your Epsom salt separate and you can kind of add those to the top as desired, and then add a couple scoops of the spicy milky baking soda-y mixture, that's a great workaround so you don't end up with a bath salt brick. So really all we're going to be doing is sort of putting everything in a pot and stirring it. It's kind of like making a salad. So come on, let's get started. So in here we have 1 cup of baking soda or sodium bicarbonate. To that we're going to add half a cup of sea salt, and so this is dead sea salt, but you could use really any kind of sea salt that you have. And half a cup of milk powder. So this is coconut milk powder, but you could use any kind of milk powder that you have on hand. So you could use goat milk powder, or you could use dairy milk powder. Coconut milk powder does smell absolutely fantastic though, and works really, really well with the chai spices. So I'm just going in here with the back of my spoon and breaking up some of the clumps and giving everything a good stir. You could do this in your blender if you really wanted to speed up the process, or a food processor, but doing it with a spoon works just fine. Of course, keep in mind, all of this is going to dissolve in your bath water, so you don't have to be too fastidious about getting all of your clumps completely broken up. And we're also going to add a spice blend. So this is the chai spice part of these bath salts. So we have 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. You can sort of see that lurking over in the corner. 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of cloves, and about half a teaspoon of ground cardamom. And that smells amazing. So give that a stir. So now we're going to add some essential oils. So I have cinnamon bark essential oil and ginger root essential oil. And so when you're getting ginger root essential oil, you want to make sure that it's the CO2 extracted stuff, because the stuff that has been steam distilled kind of smells like old socks. And then here I have my trusty DIY coffee grinder. So this isn't a totally necessary part of it, but you'll get a much better blend with the essential oil. So I'm just going to take a scoop of our mixture here and pop that in our coffee grinder. And then we're going to count our essential oils into here. So we need 20 drops of cinnamon, and 10 drops of ginger. These are both quite warming essential oils that can be irritating if used at higher concentrations, but because they're going to be diluted in bath water, this amount is totally fine. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the powder here just to cover up the essential oils, because I find that if you don't do this, the essential oils, because they're wet, they'll tend to leap up and stick to the inside of the cap, and they won't actually incorporate very well. So we're going to give that a good blend. Give that a shake and another blend. Now, sometimes when you put things in your coffee grinder, actually most of the time when you put things in your coffee grinder and you whip them up, they become quite airborne and you'll get a big powder poof when you pull the lid off. But you can see here, this mixture is wet enough that it kind of looks like wet sand through the lid, and we're not going to get a big poof when we pull it off. So usually I would advise waiting a couple minutes before taking the lid off if you've been blending something in your coffee grinder. But here, we don't need to wait for the dust to settle. So give it a whack with your spoon. That helps kind of knock anything off that's gotten caught up in there. And you can see we have this sort of nice, smooth, wet sand kind of mixture that we're going to add back into here. And so that's, those are those essential oils blended in there really, really thoroughly. And now that they've been blended into that little bit of powder, we'll be able to more easily blend them into the rest of the bath salt mixture. If you don't have a DIY coffee grinder, you can just drop the essential oils in here and give them a very thorough stir. I'm gonna grab my whisk here to really get this nice and blended. And now we're ready to package this up. So I have this cute little jar that I actually got at IKEA, and an old canning funnel that is most certainly older than I am, and has definitely been slammed in a drawer more than once. And there you go. You just made some Milky chai bath salts. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and check the description box below for the full written recipe and links to everything I used, plus the link to this recipe on my blog. See you next time!